Hey, hey, my happy evening to all my wonderful viewers across the world. Welcome to Live a Phenomenal Life Show with Madame Merola. It's a beautiful Monday and it's the last day of the month of May. So, woohoo! Was excited to be alive. I am. Man, it's been a fabulous month. I truly enjoyed every moment of it. But guess what? I'm excited for June to come in because June is my birthday month. So it's super, super special to me. So I'm saying bye to May and I'm saying hello to June because I'm excited. So welcome, everybody to Live a Phenomenal Life Show. My name is Madame Merola. I am your host and I'm the bank creator that ignites the beautiful and bold, audacious, no excuses, God's masterpiece in your life. Today's show is the final one of the series that we've been doing this month on mental health awareness. Because if you're not aware, May has been designated in many countries to be a month that they try and give people the information that they need for mental health strengthening and also tools to be able to thrive. So that is what we've been doing throughout this month of May on Live a Phenomenal Life Show, trying to give you the necessary tools that you will be able to utilize to help you to have a better mental health. So we've done radical acceptance. We've talked about the things that you can do to help you. We've talked about being anti-fragile as well. And what do people mean by having good mental health? We talked about that. And we've saved the best for the last. Yes, because we've got a celebrity psychologist all the way from South Africa. She has become my sister since we met online, and she's absolutely fabulous. She's great at what she does. Her name is Charissa Bloomberg, and she's going to be talking to us about the effect of COVID-19 on our mental health, and of course, how to be able to detect early on when you're beginning to have some mental breakdown. So I don't know about you, but I'm excited. And of course, throughout the show, she's probably going to give you some tips, and then I'm going to share my story as well about how I had issues with my mental health as well. And that way you'll be able to know that, look, even the people that are all smiling and positive all the time can also have psychotic breaks, can also have mental breakdown if things are not done properly to be able to curb it at the right time, especially if you detect it early on. So I want to bring on my beautiful guest. As you're logging on right now, you can just click on the share button so that way your friends can know that something fabulous is going on. I've got Charissa Bloomberg in the waiting room ready to come on, and you guys can share this video with other people on Facebook and on YouTube. And they will be able to watch it as well. As you're logging in, okay, network watching from South UK, wherever you are at, let me know so I can say hello to you and acknowledge your presence as well. Is Charissa, TV presenter, emotional intelligence facilitator, media activist, and the CEO of Hidden Dimensions in Psychology Group. She is also a qualified drama and communications teacher from Trinity College in London. Charissa brings 20 years of extensive international experience in motivational speaking, corporate consulting, coaching, mentoring, training, and facilitation in all areas relating to organizational behavior, leadership, and team analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, it brings me so much joy to introduce my phenomenal sister from South Africa, Charissa Bloomberg. Hi, I can't hear you.
Yes, yeah, some of the hello, Madame Merola. I am so excited to be here. I just love talking to you. And, we just get carried away off screen, on screen. So I'm super excited. And I can't wait to get into discussions with your brilliant brain. And you look absolutely stunning. And June is also my birthday month. So yay. We're two Geminis. But thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yes. Thank you. It's great to have you here. So how has May treated you, Charissa? How's the month of May been for you?
Busy, because we're getting integrity online and trying to change everything with COVID, the different new way of doing business and still surviving and thriving and being positive. And while there's chaos in the world, it's challenging times, I think, for everyone. And it's okay to have days not to be okay. And I've had those days. It's okay not to be okay sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think it's important that people get to hear that, because sometimes, when it comes to this pretend that you're okay all the time. So I tell them that when we talk about having a positive mindset or living the positivity lifestyle, it's about being intentional about the things you say and the things you do. But that doesn't mean that you're also not in touch with the current reality of the way you feel. And also when you're close to that, actually, I feel a bit despondent. So you need to be able to feel free to speak up when you don't feel good. And that's why I love the fact that the theme for the Mental Health Awareness Month was break the stigma. Break the stigma of people always thinking that there is something wrong with you speaking up and telling people I need help or I'm not feeling good. So breaking that stigma is so important because especially in Africa, we don't really believe in this mental, and we believe that if you say, oh, I'm going through depression or I'm on medication for, this, they're going to be like, oh, she's cray. She's not all right in the head. So, we need to be able to break the stigma. So that's why I love the fact that you mentioned that people should be able to speak up. So Andrew Stewart Francis, welcome from South Africa. It's great to have you here with us. Great. So let's start with affirmations because we believe strongly in affirmations here on Live a Phenomenal Life Show. And Charissa is going to share one of her favorite affirmations with us, and then we can start the show. So I got all the cards with me, 52 of them, shuffling it, and I'm going to pick 5 randomly, and then we're going to share some affirmations together, and then we will start to talk about the effect of COVID-19 on all of us and how it's affected some mentally as well. So are we ready? Because I am. Are you ready, Charissa?
Yes, I love your affirmations. Yes. And welcome to Andrew. He's a colleague and we've spoken about mental health together. So I welcome Andrew. Thank you.
Awesome. We've also got Michael Soul, aka Irie Rev, joining us from Jamaica. So welcome. Thank you to you as well. So he's saying good afternoon to us, but it's still very early in the morning for him. It's like 6:09 a.m. So good morning to you, Michael, and welcome to Live a Phenomenal Life Show. Okay, so I got the cards and let's go with the first one. It says, I am proud of who I am and the person I'm becoming daily. I renew my mind with positive and healthy thoughts. I am priceless in all ways. Yes, I love it. The second one, I'm in control of my moods. I make the right decisions and the right moves daily. I own my power and my choices. Wow, these cards are so spot on for today's show, isn't it, Charissa?
I know. I thought you chose them on purpose, that they were all lined up.
You saw me, I shuffled it and picked them randomly, so they're just coming out.
I love it.
The third one says, I am a dreams achiever. I am a success. I have the mindset of a successful person. Wow. Then the fourth card says, with each new minute, I feel new positive energy within me, and they give me strength to keep growing and building. Did you get that one? I embrace change wholeheartedly. What else could have been the most drastic change for all of us to embrace wholeheartedly than COVID-19?
Unbelievable. There are definitely powers that be that are choosing them for us, I think.
Honestly.
Amazing.
And
Honestly.
the final card says, this is amazing. The final card says, my reality reflects my abilities to fully choose and chase my God ordained legacy and dreams. I am capable of doing phenomenal things. Woo!
Oh, well done. They're amazing. And let me just clarify, you wrote all of those 52 or 53 cards, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
They're your, yeah, brilliant creator. Brilliant. Brilliant. I need
Thank
to
you.
get those cards to use in workshops. Oh, wait, we don't have workshops in COVID. But
You
fantastic.
can do them online, like I
Yes,
do. I do all my
yes,
workshops and
yes.
seminars
But
online.
yeah. My one is I am a survivor.
So it's your
I'm
turn to
talking
share
over
with
you
us an
because I lost you
affirmation.
there for a moment. So, yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm a survivor. I can do this.
I'm a
I'm
survivor.
magnificent.
Wow,
Yes.
I love
But I steal all of yours off your Instagram and then I keep them.
it. That's fine. You know, this time stealing is not cheating. It's okay to use someone else's affirmations as long
If
as
it
you
works
speak
for
them
me.
and believe what you say. That's what matters. That's what
Yes.
matters. You know, I started off using other people's affirmations as well when I was going through severe depression. And when I call it, I had a very negative mindset at a period of time in my life. And after I'd gone through 10 years of domestic violence, I didn't realize that it had affected me in a drastic way, whereby I started having a pessimistic view about things. I started always doubting people. And I think my positive mindset had become very negative. I was saying the wrong things, I was thinking the wrong things. And affirmations were one of the things that helped me to get back on track, because I realized that the words I was speaking was a direct correlation with what I was thinking. And if I
Yes.
didn't say the right things and start thinking the right things, I would keep on embodying all the negative feelings, negative emotions.
Yes.
And before I knew it, what I was thinking and saying was becoming a reality for me.
Exactly
So
so.
every time and I found myself always depressed and always unhappy. So I had to change from being someone that had a thinking mentality to someone that started to work on having a much more positive mentality. And affirmations were one of the things I used as a tool to get me back on track. So I believe in it. I'm a living testament of how powerful affirmations are if you believe in them. So there we go.
But can I just say something on that? And I know you said our mind and our body is connected. So every thought that we think has an impact on our body and on our behavior. And my favorite thing I want to say, what you think, you
Mm,
start feeling, and then you act and behave like that. So when you're thinking
wow.
negative, I'm useless, I'm no good, you start behaving
Mm.
like that. I won't go for the job. I don't know, life's no good. And then you behave, it's a spiral downwards. And your thoughts are powerful. It starts with your thoughts.
Mm.
And if you want to change your life, there's that lovely saying, you need to change your thoughts. It starts there. And these affirmations, what people don't realize, oh, it's fine to say, I'm a survivor, I'm a survivor. But the more you say it, the more you believe it, the more you own it
That's true.
and feel it and visualize it. And that's where the power lies. So I just want to get that across.
I love it. I love it. And I think yeah, you coined it perfectly. And from a psychologist's point of view, you've also used the science to back it
Yes.
up, because many people just think, oh, it's all woo-woo stuff. And even if you come from the faith
Mhm.
perspective of speaking affirmations, or you come from the science perspective, both agree that affirmations work. So you'll be silly not to use them for your own good. And you know what you said about the thoughts we think is what we feel and act on is the same thing that law of attraction will say, what you
Oh dear, I don't know if I must
What
speak
you
now.
say is ask, believe to receive. So many.
Yes.
No, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to believe it to receive it.
There's so many books written on it. I mean, The Secret, there's about 10 or 15, even more books talking about the reality, and it starts with one's thoughts, and that's where in the power lies. So thank you. So people, please practice affirmations. I'm speaking a lot to students, and they're all stressed about exams. Oh, I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail. And if you start saying to yourself, I'm calm and relaxed, I'm calm, and you're like, you're right, I'm calm and relaxed, you're right. But the more you say it, okay, I can drop my shoulders. Wait, I can breathe. Maybe I can be calm and relaxed because I'm prepared. So the more you say it, the more you buy into it. So, and we need these affirmations right now in the time of COVID, because there's a lot of mental health issues. And Madame Merola, there is the biggest pandemic to come out of it, especially this year, is mental health and mental illness and challenges because of all the anxiety. So I don't know if you want to talk about that for a while. So shall I carry on? You froze up. Okay. So we're all sitting, this pandemic.
Go ahead, please. Of network issues, people. So bear with us.
Yes. So bear with us. Yes.
I said it started off from last year when the pandemic came. So you can go on and talk about the effect it's had on people. So
yes.
you can talk about what your research and what you've experienced as well as a person.
So because there's so much anxiety going around, when it initially came out, there's no script for how do you deal with it. There's no script. How do you wear masks? How do you social distance? How do you cut yourself off from your family? How do you have a funeral without people being supported? It was a whole new phenomenon that we had to deal with. And there was nothing before this to know how to go with it and what to do. So it's caused so much anxiety. It's caused so much fear. I mean, fear that you'll get the illness, fear that you'll die, fear that your children will have it, fear that they'll bring it home. And we're at the point now where everyone in the world, and that's a huge generalization, has been affected in some way or another by COVID. They've had it. They've known someone who's had it. They've known someone who's died from it, heaven forbid, in their families, or they've known on social media people have died from it. They've seen job losses. They've seen poverty. They've seen animal abuse. They've seen abuse for people. So, and if you're a sensitive soul like I am, all of this is going to affect you on some level. However, and if there's mental issues from before, this will provoke it, and this will escalate it and make it worse. And saying to that, not only for people, but I'm aware for the children, because some children don't have the toolkit. That very sweet of Andrew to be here. Him and I did an amazing toolkit I'm going to give to you at some point when we were talking. There's a toolkit that needs to be given, and everyone was talking about what to do, how not to get the virus, but no one was talking about how do you survive, and the suicides that came out of it, and the issues with children. So, sorry, I don't know if you're talking or not, but I can just get carried away. So we can talk about some of those symptoms and what we can do about it, because it's a huge concern and not enough is being done. And how many suicides do we need to have before we're going to say people out there need help? Children need help. There's no tools that we're giving them to survive, or very little.
Wow. You've touched on so many aspects, and we will take it one by one. We'll start with the children as to the effect it had on the children, because for some it disrupted their school lives and their education. In some part of the world, they were able to go to school, but it was through remote learning, online distance learning. For some parts of the world, nothing was, no plan was in place. So because there were no equipments for the children and for the schools as well to be able to do the distance learning via computer, the children just sat at home for months at end, not knowing when they were going to go back to school. You can imagine the children that had like key exams to do, maybe to transition to university and stuff. All of a sudden, they're telling them that there's no date for the exam anymore because everything is at a standstill. So let's talk about the effect it had on their mental psyche, because many times we don't think about how it affected the children, but it affected them on many levels, not just mental, but emotional. But let's talk about the mental effects.
Yes, exactly. And remember, children learn by playing, and they're hugging, they play together, that connection, which also has just been gone. Now you can't have your friends over. And many of them were also picking up from the parents' anxiety. I mean, parents are stressing at home now. One maybe single parent, or maybe the parent has lost their job. Now the parent's working from home. The parent has to school them. The parents are arguing. They're worried about their elderly, their grandparents. There's so many issues. And the younger children who don't know, they just know there's stress in the house. And I mean, when you're arguing, it affects the child on any level. So the younger ones would be prone for bedwetting and other acting out scenarios. And then the adolescents, just sulky behavior, locking themselves up in the room, depression, arguing with mom, busy on social media all the time. It was the only way to connect. So it's affected our children really on every single level, and they should have been debriefed when they got back to school. And then they had to learn masks. You eat away from your friend. You sit separately. I mean, I lectured at a school. I was horrified. I mean, they were sitting miles away in a huge room away from each other, like in a little box. There was no connection. So, it's really difficult. And I just hope a lot of children got support through this. Now it's becoming normal, if it can ever be such a thing.
Yeah, and I think it was a big shift for them, because just as you said, especially the younger ones who were so easy and quick to see someone they're familiar with and want to hug them, and then all of a sudden you're like, no, sorry, you can't touch me and stuff like that. You have to stay away from people. It must have had a huge psychological effect on them to suddenly live in a world that physical contact was no more available. And as a psychologist, you can also give testament to the fact that there is some emotional benefit people get from being able to have physical contact with each other, the hugging, the kissing, and the holding of hands and stuff, which we were suddenly told you can't do any of that anymore.
Stay away.
Yes.
And then the fear when they go to the school that they may bring it back to their parents. And it's really been crazy times. And then we're talking about, even a youngster just got their phone stolen or whatever, that got stolen on the way to school. They were walking there. So, I mean, the crime that's escalated as well, that's impacted the children. And it's a hectic time, madam. And we need mental resilience, and we need to teach the children mental resilience, and we need to give them some coping skills. Because with our third wave coming, it's not getting any easier. Yeah.
Yes. And now we can move on to the effects that the lockdown in particular had on adults, people that were used to having to go out to make their daily living, especially. Some people have the luxury of working for organizations or companies that is you get paid after 30 days, right? While we know that for many people as well, the harsh reality of the life is that if they don't go out and work today, they're not going to have any money to feed themselves. So when the lockdown came and there was restriction on movement, and you're telling this kind of people to stay at home for days on end and have zero means to be able to feed themselves, feed their families, they went literally mental. Because they were like, I can't stay home. I'm going to die of starvation. I'm going to die of, suffocation in this small space I'm sharing with 8 other people before the COVID touches me. So maybe you can talk to us about some of the effects it had on adults that were in this dilemma all of a sudden.
Yes. I mean, well said, madam. I mean, they were fighting for their life, literally. I mean, I know how many people just got locked in, as you said, in tiny rooms and huge families. And, for the women, those who were in lockdown, who were, in abusive behavior, his husband, that is hectic. The safe houses that they couldn't go to. So, I mean, we don't want to dwell on all the negative, but it was terrible. And then for a lot of us, we didn't have savings. We didn't know. Everything suddenly just got cancelled. And then how do we feed ourselves? How do we feed my 87-year-old mother? How do I feed my animals? What do I do? And then how do we support everyone? So we've been through a crazy time, and I think that we can look back and say, those that have survived, who are blessed, we are here. And I think, what got me through this many a times is when I was down and when I was out and thinking, I don't know where my life is. My whole life evolves around training and interaction and one-on-one counseling and TV work. And that's all taken from me completely. And I mean, I didn't know what Zoom is. What's Zoom? We had to learn all these things. It was hectic. But I think what I've learned from this is my moments when I was feeling really, really down. I would just see what can I do for someone else, because there's always someone worse off than me. And for me, of course, it's animals. And I started something to feed a lot of those people giving up their animals. They can't feed themselves. They can't feed the animals. I started collecting food for animals. I started handing out bread. We have traffic lights here where we've got people on every single traffic light. It's still like that. But I mean, I think the message I want to get out is there's always someone worse off. And I think what I want to focus on is how do we stay strong through this, because it's not over. So what are we going to do to stay strong? And it's not about being positive all the time. We need to be positive, yes. But it's, as we said earlier, it's okay not to be okay. But when do we lift ourselves up and pick ourselves up and start all over? That's key for me. And how do we recognize depression? Because I was reading, I'm looking down here, my notes, 19 suicide by school leavers in less than 2 years in South Africa. That's 19 deaths of teenagers and school leavers recently. And recently, just 2 weeks ago, we've had 2 suicides as well in 2 weeks. So we need to be able to watch the signs, and we need to talk about that a bit as well.
Yeah. Yes, and the suicide brings me to the final level of the effects of the COVID, which was the deaths. We got. So you can imagine a pre-existing condition, and you started to prime yourself for the fact that you might lose that person eventually. But when a healthy person
lost you. Oh dear. We've lost you. You're coming back.
Really just dies in the short shoes. Am I back?
Are you back? I know the Wi-Fi is a problem in Nigeria. Okay. Goodness, we didn't get any of the last bit you said. Sorry. But I think you were talking about deaths and.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. I think you were talking about deaths and losing someone close to one. No, I think we've lost her.
Yes, I was saying that the rates. Can you? Oh gosh. Can you hear me now? Sorry, I have to keep saying, can you hear me now? Okay, so I was talking about the deaths. So the sudden ones that came from suicides, from people that suddenly contracted the COVID-19 and died within the space of days, and having to deal with all that. And the people that, of course, they were just like, they were not equipped to deal with the stress that came and the issues of suddenly losing someone that they were not primed or ready to lose. So many people's lives were turned upside down all of a sudden. So that's why I said, so that's the last level.
Yes.
Because death is nothing.
Okay. I can't hear, but I'm going to just say something about deaths. Even the whole funeral was, weren't able to have people around you, hug you. There's a vision of a little widowed woman wearing black, crying with a mask and no one near her to support her. So yes, we've been through a tough time, and but now we're going to ask how we're going to get through the next rest of the year, as we're trying to call back So I'm just carrying on talking because Madame's frozen there. Should we talk about some signs about when someone is depressed? What does Andrew say? There's only one thing more contagious than COVID, that's care. We can all make a difference in our communities and find purpose. Yes, exactly so. And I think, Andrew, thank you for that. I mean, I can hear Charissa, this COVID has brought out the best and the worst in everyone. There are those that rose to the occasions and did some amazing things, and then those that just sat in their victim pity party. So I want to talk about some signs. Are you back with us? I want to talk about some signs about depression. So how do you know that your child, that you are going through a depression that's dangerously close to suicide? And that is when your sleep patterns change, when your eating habits change, when you eat too much, when you eat too little, when you're feeling lonely, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling overwhelmed. Suicide doesn't happen with one event and like, oh gosh, that's it. It builds and builds and builds. So if there's any change to any of those patterns and locking yourself away and feeling overwhelmed and thinking the world will be better off without you, or seeing someone close to you just lose interest in getting dressed, brushing their teeth, looking good, that is the time that they need to reach out, or you need to reach out to somebody. It's not worth a life. But the crazy thing about suicide, and we've been quite heavy today, so we're going to talk about lighter things, I hope, after this. But I'll give you a note that we need to talk about suicide. The person, and I've seen 2 or 3 suicides close to me during COVID and before that. The thing about suicide is those that are serious about it, you will not know they're planning to kill themselves. They will be happy. They will be like, you will not think anything is wrong with them. And those are the ones that are serious, and they will go home and they know that they were going to kill themselves that night. And then there's para-suicide. There's those that are crying for help, and they'll leave hints. Oh, this world's too much for me. I can't cope. Oh, I think I should die. They're testing the waters and they're crying out by these statements. And we need to take care of those ones. Those that are talking about suicidal thoughts are crying for support. And we're seeing this a lot with students, sadly, that I'm working with. But I want to talk about coping skills, Madam, because we've been a bit heavy in the reality, and how do we get through this? Are you back with us? Can we hear you?
Oh, yes. So please go ahead, because once we are able to identify that there is something wrong, how do we start to deal with it? How do we heal from this mental issues that we're facing that also have a link to our emotions?
I think here's where self-care comes in, and here's where knowing yourself really well, because you've got to know what kind of thoughts you're thinking, and you've got to know when you're overwhelmed, and you've got to know, and this happens to me a lot when I haven't self-cared and I'm frazzled and I go from one person to another and I have outbursts and I'm angry and I lose patience and I forget to feed the animals and I'm rushed. Then we haven't taken self-care, and we need to step back and breathe. And that's the time that we actually tune into ourselves and think, what are you going through? I'm stressed. I'm thinking repetitive thoughts, because repetitive thoughts is going on and on and on and on and on in your head, and that's also dangerous. Have we got a question before I'm just rambling on? Or shall I deal with that just now? Will you read that just now? So we've got to tune in to see where we're at, and not a lot of us sit back and say, hey, Charissa, where are you at? You're a little bit stressed right now. You need some time out. What should I focus on? We've got to know ourselves so well that we can tune into those thoughts. And we have to reach out. Reaching out is a difference between life or death. And there's so many places we have in South Africa, and I don't know your places in Nigeria. Reach out. Everyone is just a phone call away, and just say, I'm not coping. Can I talk to someone? You can change your life, and you can change everybody else's life in the future, because if you want to leave this life, you're leaving a horrific destitution behind you, to your families, to everybody. People left behind. We've got one recently, a lovely dog walker who used to walk everybody's dogs, and suddenly there was no work and he hung himself. And we're all saying, why didn't we know? Why didn't he phone anybody? There's so many questions that is left. So let's look for the signs, and we've got to reach out. Did I have some questions?
Yeah, well, you had one from Andrew, but I just wanted to touch on the last thing you said now, that we should reach out. And I think that's so important, because I know when the pandemic hit, and it's so funny, like I get people calling me from my church and asking that, oh, I haven't seen you this year, and this is the last day of May. And I'm like, oh, so it took, in my mind, I was like, so it took five months before you realize I haven't been to church since December last year, to say, oh, I should call her. So imagine if I already passed away, they'll just be finding out that, oh, she's no more here with us. So it's that issue that you said, that we don't intentionally check up on people. And I think the pandemic came and made us realize that, look, we were so busy with life that we might have, it's not good enough for me to say, oh, I hope Charissa is doing well. I need to communicate with you, call you, send your message, send your voice note to say, hi, Charissa, you came into my mind today. I just wanted to find out how you're doing, and to know that if you need me, call me, because I'm thinking about you and I wish you well. Just something as simple as that could change someone's mental psyche from being like, I am all alone, to someone cares enough about me to check up on me.
I'm so pleased you said that, because one of Andrew's friends who's on Facebook, who only reports good news, he was saying exactly that. We do not reach out enough. You know, the times when you used to just phone someone, it's become so distant. Now we say to someone on the WhatsApp, when is a good time to phone? We don't pick up the phone anymore. Yeah, and then maybe they'll read
we need permission.
Yeah, we need permission to ask if we could chat. And by the time they look at their WhatsApp, well, it's not a good time for me anymore. And we do not lift the phone, pick the phone up and make that connection. I'm so pleased you mentioned that. That is critical. And what we do, and as you mentioned before, if someone doesn't ask a message and it was, hi, COVID, I'm like, are you alive? Do you have proof that you don't answer me? Because silence, and at university, the students have the mentors and the mentees. Silence means you've either killed yourself, you've gone off the radar, you're not coping. I mean, yeah, so it's actually rude not to answer people. But
or you're too ill to answer the phone.
Yes. So then we start worrying. But we need to pick up that phone and just say, hi, how are you? And then people must answer. They mustn't just go, I'm fine. You know, we've got to connect. We really have to. There's so many people struggling of loneliness, depression, anxiety. Please reach out and connect with others. Social distancing doesn't mean that we distance in our mind as well. So
I agree with you. So that's one thing you've mentioned, that we need, first of all, self-care. The second thing is to reach out. What else can we do? What else can we do to be able to help ourselves and help other people around us?
But to know it's not a failure to reach out. It's not a failure to say, I am overwhelmed, I can't. Please, just to know that we've got to break that stigma, madam. We've got to break that stigma that says everybody goes through something at some point in their lifetime. We're not all heroes, and it is okay to reach out. It is okay to feel down. It is okay to hit our lowest, as long as we know how to climb back and reach back up from that. So we need to be aware of that. Sorry about the next door neighbor's dog barking.
No, it's fine. I actually wanted to, because since you mentioned it now, that it's okay for us to, it's so important that we need to stress on the fact that in many cultures and countries, right, it's amazing, you still find out that there is still this stigma that we have to deal with. We can't speak up and say, I'm feeling depressed. Because the minute you say that, for different reasons, whether it's for religious reasons or whether it's for societal, they'll be like, oh, don't tell people that you're feeling depressed and stuff like that. Then they'll tell you that, oh, Nigerians don't go through depression. We're built to be strong and resilient. So I keep telling people that many of them don't realize that they are borderline schizophrenics and stuff like that, because they're not going to go to get the help they need. So many people don't even know that they're bipolar. Many people don't know they've got so many different ailments that has a name, because the minute you tell anyone, oh, do you know I have a therapist? Or do you know I have a psychologist? They're going to start looking at you with a different eye. Oh, she ain't all right in the head. That's why she needs to go see a therapist. So people don't talk about it. So when I went through my domestic violence, from the very first time it happened, I was told, like, oh, don't tell anybody and stuff like that. Just, forgive him and move on. And I couldn't move on from it because it's something that I wasn't prepared for. And by keeping quiet, not able to say anything about it, I didn't realize that I was enabling him. And it went on for 10 years, Charissa, 10 years. So I had to deal with the fact that I was being physically abused, and I had to keep a smile on my face and still show up as a minister in church and still run my business and still be a young mom and still have this, everything is all right with my world, when it wasn't. So before you knew it, I started having insomnia. I couldn't sleep at night. So I would be awake throughout the entire night because I was having all kinds of crazy thoughts going through my head. I was beginning to lose weight. And that was how I got into the state I was in. I was talking about the stinking thinking mentality, because I started becoming very negative. I started becoming very withdrawn and stuff. But to everybody else's eye, they felt I was fine. Yeah. They were like, oh, many people have gone through this, it's a normal thing, just get over it, So everyone just kept on saying, just get over it, just get over it. But I was struggling. I wasn't getting over it. And then one day I was like, I've had enough. Since I can't find a way out and I'm stuck in this trap, I'm just going to kill myself. So just like what you said, that not everybody's going to tell you, they're just going to do it. I wrote a note and put it in my kids' bag and sent them off to school. And I planned to kill myself that day. And by the miraculous intervention of God, 2 women came to my house and told me that, no, you can't kill yourself. God told me to come and tell you that your life matters. We've also gone through this. This is how our lives changed and stuff. And because of what happened that day, that just as you said, 2 people reached out to me to share the story, to comfort me and tell me that it is okay for you not to be okay at the moment, but you will get through this. That changed my life, Charissa. That changed the whole stress I was going through. That was too much for me, that I felt that the only way I could cope was to kill myself. It was like someone put a pin in it and deflated that stress. And from that day henceforth, I started to have a totally different belief. And also I started feeling like I can get through this. I can get through this. I can overcome this. That just as you said in the beginning, I'm a survivor, that I will survive this. And this will only make me stronger. This will only make me better. So it's important for people to know that, look, the people that don't even look like they're going through anything mental are actually suffering. So if we don't reach out, if we don't have that courage to be able to speak up and ask for the help, many people will probably end up with serious psychotic breaks, or even end up doing what I almost did, which is kill themselves.
Oh, God. Thank you for being brave enough to share your story. And I think that you can empower so many other women who may watch this at some point, because it is a cover up, and it's a cover up for so many women, and just saying, he's your husband, just grit it, take it. He's the provider. What will you do alone with the kids? Just, keep quiet and carry on. And which is the worst thing to do. But look at you now. You were brave enough. Someone reached out to you. You were brave enough. Your kids are flourishing. You're happy now. I mean, look at your life now. Look how amazing you are, and how you're influencing so many people all over the world by your phenomenal TV shows, by everything that you're doing. So what a waste of a life that would have been. But I want to change the stigma. Absolutely. It's not only it, and we need to change it in Africa, because if one is bipolar, there is the highs and the lows. They could take their life. They can possibly not hold down a job. And once they have been diagnosed, it's easy. There's medication. I've got a very good friend, bipolar. She's married. She's got a kid, a child. She's beautiful life. She's on medication, but sadly. But here's the thing, and I remember Oprah Winfrey saying that she's got her academy school, and she was saying one child was really just looking like they were depressed, they were lonely, they were showing all the symptoms. And when they said to her, we think you're suffering from depression, she said, but I'm African, we don't get depressed.
That's what I said. To tell you that, like,
Every bit
It's
of
not
us
in our DNA.
that blew my mind. We don't get it. So let's break the stigma. Everybody could possibly get depressed at some point in their life. We're all going to, God
Yes.
forbid, lose family, lose friends, have makeups, have breakups, have financial loss, have highs and lows. And you could suffer from it. So reach out, please. And we must break. We need to do a lot more shows like this to just tell the whole of Africa, Nigeria. It is a human thing. It's not a cultural thing. I think it was Andrew saying it's not a cultural thing. I mean, what did Andrew say? It's something about culture. We are human, and you know what? And not saying that you shouldn't have a psychologist. There's no perfect parents in this entire world. So everybody's got a little bit of a cuckoo thing going on for them.
Yeah.
There's no perfect people because there's no perfect parenting skills, and things are going to happen. And emotions, we're human. And it's so fantastic. If you don't want to have a psychologist, it's very big to have a mentor, to have a coach to help you going. I mean, to see things that you don't see. I reach out to people. If I'm feeling down, I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. What can I do? I don't have a life. I don't get to gym. I'm living on cocoa chips. I can't see my mother. I reach out. You know, we all need someone. And it is okay
Absolutely.
for doing it. And it's enough now. Do it. And let's connect as humanity. I mean, we have to have a new humanity. We have to be able to care for each other. We have to show integrity and do the right thing because people are struggling. And if you're in a position of power to help them, there's no perfect, there's no better way. You know, I wanted to tell you something. This is just off the chart. I told students about my struggle at university because I went back when I was 29 to struggle to study, and it was a struggle, and it was highs and lows. Really, it was. And I started off part-time, and it's a story for another day. But it took 7 years because it was part-time. Then I had to catch up. I did come out cum laude, but the story is that they weren't giving bursaries to us older people. And Mom sold everything. She sold her TV. She sold her lounge suite. We sold everything to get to stay there. There were highs and lows. I can tell you there were times. And if I didn't get a first, I wouldn't get into honors. And then after honors, I only pick a few for masters. So we didn't know. We were putting my mother through this, and we didn't know it's going to be for nothing. But the long and the short of it, I spoke about the friend I had. My friend got diamonds every year she graduated. And I got debt. I got debt and she got diamonds. But the story of it, and the story of it, it teaches when you're going through something and you're learning how to struggle. At the time, you think, what am I doing? I'm not going to survive. I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed. I can't study. But it makes you stronger. When I came out of it, her diamonds and the beautiful car she's just got, it's got her nowhere. She gave up psychology. She's not helping the world. She shops and she has a wonderful life. I'm a little bit jealous. But when you can empower other people with your thoughts, with your enthusiasm, with uplifting them, it makes everything you've gone through just so much better. I'll go through those exact same struggles, and that's only a quarter of my story. I'll go through those exact same struggles again if it means it can uplift other people with the story. And with,
So true. And that's why we say the power of sharing your story is something that is priceless, because many of us, we were not empowered to share our stories because we felt they were too shameful. They probably, it was always about how we feel when we share it, forgetting that it can transform someone else's life. So, when many people get to hear the story that I went through 10 years of domestic violence, and yet I've run 3 different successful companies. I've raised 2 amazing, well-balanced, mentally strong teenagers, and I can do what I do despite all I went through. They're like in shock, because I've changed the narrative for many people that they've always had this mental picture of someone that's gone through physical violence and mental or depression and stuff has this look and never makes anything good out of their life. And I was like, nope, that is not true. That many of us have stories to tell. We just don't tell you. We just put on the MAC and we put on the lipstick and plaster a smile, and you think everything is okay. But I can guarantee you, everybody has a story to share about what they had to struggle through to get to where they are right now for their breakthrough. So it's important that we realize that the smiles are like, for some people it's a cover up, and for some it's out of gratitude for us knowing that we went through so much and we can be where we are today and really look back and say, thank God that I went through that, and that it has refined me, it strengthened me, and has also empowered me to be able to help other people so that they don't have to go through what I had to go through.
Yes. Well said, powerful words. And everyone, I love what you say, everyone has a story. We're human. There are very few people who are going through life and everything is just fantastic and given to them. Everyone has a story. And women don't realize how hard it is to leave. I mean, for us to sit back and judge, oh, he abused you, so get up and walk out. We don't realize how difficult it is to do that. But in the end, we're either going to end up dead from committing suicide, or the abuse goes too far, and what we're subjecting the kids to. So fantastic, well done. People are so resilient, madam. We don't know until we hear their stories. We really, really don't. I was just connecting with a lovely African lady doing nails, which not that you see it on Zoom, and I just got talking to her. She's lovely. Everything is my angel, my love, and God's provided. But the sad story is, she lives away from her children. They are far away from her. She's not going to see them for another 2 years because she can't work and provide for them. Now, I can't imagine as a mother what it's like to see your 2 sons growing up with someone else. She hasn't got a mother. They're growing up somewhere else in the Eastern Cape, in part of Africa. And there's so many like this. There's so many people who've got stories to tell. How do you not connect with your children? And how do you a little lady, when we were just chatting, I chat to all the cashiers, and how they'd lost a loved one a few weeks ago, but they're back at work. So there's so many people putting on brave faces, and we want to say, we salute you. You are resilient, Absolutely. You are strong, and your life matters. And tell your story, no matter how small, no matter how big, because you can inspire someone, and it's a difference between taking a life or death.
Absolutely. And it's funny, when you mentioned, it's also interesting to know that some of the effects that came from the COVID was that, not just, we started seeing women that suddenly, I will say this suddenly is actually not sudden, so we started hearing things on the news. A woman stabs her husband or does this and does that. I told them, I said, it was a long time coming. That it didn't just happen suddenly. The person had been keeping it all in, keeping it on, and then when you had the lockdown and the person was forced to be in a cage with this person, something just broke, something gave way. So I'm laughing about it now, but the reality of it is that, yes, that so many people had been burdened and been keeping all these frustrations inside. And I say it was like an erupting volcano. Sometimes you can't tell the precise minute that volcano is going to erupt, but that's what these people are, because they just kept on taking it in, and there was no place to release it. And that's why we say, take the stigma away from going to visit a psychologist or a psychiatrist, because when you are going through that much pressure, it's going to get to the point whereby you will crack. There is nothing that is so anti-fragile to the point that it cannot get to its point of saying, okay, I can't take it anymore. This resilient point is not enough for me. I just need to just break. So we need to get help before we break, because we don't want to scatter into many pieces mentally.
Yes, exactly. And I'm so pleased you mentioned that, because you reminded me there's such a thing called burnout, and it is my personal professional opinion that majority of the universe is in burnout, and that we're just going adrenal fatigue. We're just going, we're pushing it to the limit, and and the body gets ready for fight or flight. Here's another thing that we've got to worry about, and then it comes down, and the body's got to get ready, and the hormones shoot up, and then the body's got to come down, and we are absolutely exhausted. We are self-medicating. We're having headaches. We're having hair loss. We're having migraines. We're having skin reactions. We're having immune system breakdown. This is burnout. We are pushing ourselves too much as well, and we've got to look at that. We really, and that's where it comes into. Then we just lose our temper. Or we make stupid mistakes, because we're just not focused. We just send the wrong emails to the wrong people. We scream and shout at the agency of your mother because she can't hear you. And then we scream, and then the neighbor hears you and then says, that stupid shrink, that rude shrink, doesn't she train integrity? But, we lose it. We lose it because we are burnt out. We're exhausted. We have adrenal fatigue. We're pushing ourselves. We're dealing with so much in this world. So let's talk about some toolkits. Let's talk about some positivity to help. What do you say? Because that's what you're all about anyway.
Yes, let's do that. Let's do that.
Yes.
And then after that, you can share with us how to be able to detect early on if we're having some mental health stress, so that after you've shared the toolkit with us, it will be good for us to be able to just pinpoint that some of the early signs that we should look out for. And that way we can quickly go and get some help before it escalates to a point whereby it's almost damaging.
Yes. So as I said earlier, let's just look at your sleep patterns. Are you having insomnia? I think you mentioned earlier. Are you having insomnia? Are you sleeping too much? Are you sleeping too little? Are you waking up in the middle of the night with anxiety and little panic attacks? Are you eating for comfort? Are you not eating because you're stressed? Are you self-medicating? Are you having too much coffee, sweet things, painkillers, anti-inflammatories? Are you also, repetitive thoughts is something. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? I don't know how I'm going to get money. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? How am I going to worry? What if I need to contact? Repetitive thoughts on the replay is a danger sign, because you don't know when to stop. I still don't know. And it goes on and on and on. That's a danger. When we're worried about something, then make sure that you sit down, and I say to myself, for the next 10 minutes or half an hour, I'm going to worry. I'm going to worry myself sick. But when that half hour is up, I'm going to get up and I'm going to not be a victim anymore, and I'm going to see what I can do about it. So we have to learn internal versus external locus of control, not a locus of control.
Yes.
The external locus of control blames God, blames the world, blames the universe for COVID, for what I'm going through, blames the Chinese, blames the government, blames everything. A person with internal locus of control says, what can I do about it? I don't want to be the victim. Right. What can I do about it? This is my world now. What am I going to do? Who can I reach out to? And I think that's an important thing, that we don't feel a victim and we look at our mental status. I think that's just crucial. Look out for signs that you're feeling lonely. You don't want to get dressed. You don't feel like brushing your teeth. You don't feel like going out. You don't feel like doing those things. Those are warning signs. So and look for it in other people as well. That's huge. Just so that's the same thing. Connecting to your thoughts. Where am I at? What am I doing? How am I behaving? Stop dead still and think about it and breathe and meditate on it and sit alone in your room, in your garden, and think, where am I at? Where's my life? What's coming of me? What can I do about it? How can I change it? Who can I reach out to? Those are crucial things that we need to do.
And that brings about the power of observation of ourselves and observation of other people as well, because literally almost everything you reeled off on your list, I went through that, and the good thing was that maybe, and I keep telling people that, in life, we can always look at the bad things that happen to us and also take some good out of it. Because of the fact that I went through depression and suicidal thoughts, it became so much easier for me, Charissa, to be able to pick out people that were getting to that state. So I could be talking to someone and I was able to observe that this person wasn't like this before, but there's something that has changed in them. And then I'll go out my way and befriend them and start talking to them. And then I will share my story and say, oh, did you know that just about a few years ago, I was going through severe depression and almost killed myself because of it. And the person will be like, oh, really? Guess what? This is how I feel as well right now. And they will realize that it was because I'd already seen that they probably were looking for a way to be able to release or find help, but didn't know how to. So I found out that by sharing my story with them, it made them feel a bit more comfortable to be able to tell me what they were going through. And then I was able to suggest to them that, okay, you know what, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to go visit, these people to get the help. But it came from the power of observation. Because I was able to observe the things that was going wrong with me that led to my severe depression, I started to be able to notice when people suddenly changed their behaviors and characters and the moods. And then I was able to say, maybe this person needs help. So I need to reach out to this person, because by reaching out, I just end up saving somebody else.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. And there can be so many support groups you could create as well. But yeah, reach out. And that doesn't mean we must all go and play amateur psychologist and stay with this mask. With this mask doesn't help, because you just, I mean, you know, how are you supposed to tell and read the body language? I mean, unless they've got a black eye. But I hear you. The signs are there, and let's show some humanity. You know, I picked up something, I think it was from one of your shows, Reverend Iri. How do I say his name?
Yes, Iri.
Yes,
Iri.
Yes. I want to say, because I want to start looking at some positivity. Was it him who said, if you're alive, your story is still being written, make it phenomenal? Or was it you who said that? I grasped that, and I've been using that in my talks. If you're alive, find lessons in disappointment. I'm sure it came from him. Find lessons in disappointment. And if you're alive, your story is still being written.
That's right.
So I think it came from him, but I know I stole that somewhere. But I mean, if we're still alive, we can still reach out to others and make our lives phenomenal and make it count. I mean, what legacy do we want to leave behind? Not everyone wants to. We just want to get up, work, and earn money. That's also okay. But for the rest of us, want to share our stories, want to empower others, let's make it, I love your words, phenomenal, by turning our lives around. There's lessons in all these disappointments and all this hurt.
Very true. Yeah. So what else were you going to share to us from your toolkit? Please go ahead.
Oh, the toolkit, which I must say Andrew actually helped me do. We talk a lot about, you know how we put on PPE? Oh, we've got questions.
No, it's just a comment.
Okay. So we talk about PPE, that you've got to put on your personal protective equipment. So every day I want us to talk about the toolkit. Put on your PPE. It's your emotional PPE. So that means you check on your mental attitude, you check where you're at, you check how stressed you are, you check, you watch your behavior. It's a personal, as you said, self-reflection. So put on your PPE, not only your mask, put on, where am I? I'm stressed. I'm okay. Check in with yourself. That's huge. Do you want to read some comments?
No, it's fine. Please go ahead with the toolkit.
Okay. So the PPE is vitally important in checking in with yourself. And please acknowledge your feelings, acknowledge where you're at. And support group is huge. Build yourself an amazing support group. Build yourself, even if it's just 1 or 2 people that you can call, that is there for you, that has your interests at heart. So it's someone that you can phone and say, you know what happened? Right. Oh, I can't believe it, this idiot. Or you want to just say, I'm not feeling so great. Someone who cares about you, that you can phone, and you don't have to WhatsApp and say, I'm not feeling great. When is a good time that we can chat? And they can say next year or tomorrow. So have your support group. Know the people who care about you, who will be there for you at any time of the day or night that you need. For me, that's crucial. And I think you've said it all. Reach out to others. But also for me, it's about doing the right thing always. It's about integrity. Doing the right thing, if it's with your own health, it's about your own personal integrity. Do the right thing for others around you as well. Doing the right thing is crucial. So check in for that and decide on that all the time. And let's just be aware, for those who are lucky enough to go back, to work, imagine we're actually sending a dysfunctional workforce back. We're sending people with anxiety back to work. We're sending people who have lost family members, people close to them. We're sending people back to work who have fears. And we are sending rude people back. So be very, very aware of your where you're at. And if someone is rude to you, please just know that's absolutely not right. But they could be hurting. They could be coming from a place of pain, and they're lashing out. So if someone's rude, I'm just saying, shame, bless you. Have a good day, because something's going on for you, Auntie. It's okay. So, because there are a lot of people out there. The road rage.
Yes, it's transferred aggression. It's transferred aggression.
Yes, I didn't move at the traffic light, and they're hooting and they're hooting and hooting. Okay, sorry. Let's just be more tolerant, I think, as well. That's part of our toolkit. But I'll share a whole toolkit with you afterwards. I can send it to you. As I say,
Thank you so much.
I did that. Yeah.
Okay, Sam was asking, Charissa, are you from South Africa? So
Yeah.
if you'd come early, you would have known that, yes, she is from South Africa. It was mentioned in the bio. She's very proud to be from South Africa. So yes, she is. Where from South Africa again are you? So that just in case you
Cape
get me some
Town.
new Cape
Cape,
Town mama. She's a Cape Town mama. So
Cape Town mama. Cape Town mama.
you know what was funny was that when you were talking about the support group, and I was just like, you know what? I think I'll be completely lost without a support group. And there were two things that really helped me beyond using the affirmations as well. So the support group, you need a place where you can vent, where you're able to say what you want to say without any filters, right? Because there's some people that you have to be proper, you can't say some things, but you have what I call the safety net with those people. So I could possibly call you and say, oh, Charissa, do you know what happened today? And then, probably use some curse words or just go all mental. And then saying all of it, you just feel better. So I'm the kind of person that if I bottle things up, it's not a good thing. So I need to have that release valve to be able to say whatever I need to say and get it out of my mind. And once I've done it, I feel so much better. And the second thing that I found out that really helped me was to find sports. I was a professional athlete, so sports was one of the things that really helped me. So I found out about playing tennis when I was really angry and stuff, and also going for kickboxing and things like that. I
Yeah.
felt much better afterwards because what I'll do is, while I'm hitting the balls really hard on the tennis court, I've literally put somebody's face in my mind as those balls when I'm whacking it really hard. I'm like, take that, you SOB. I release all the pent up anger in me, all the frustration. And then I feel so much better because of all the good vibes and what's that thing that endorphins, right? So I just
Yeah.
feel a lot better and calmer and more in control afterwards without hurting anybody else, or finding a coping mechanism and a releasing valve that would just allow me to be in a much more controlled state. So that was my own internal form of locus that I used to be able to diffuse tension, anxiety, stress, and overwhelm anytime I had them.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I need to go back to the gym, and I used to love the boxing because you can't stay angry and while you're releasing all of this as well. It's so important, and I'm glad you've mentioned that because I didn't mention that at a time when we're stressed, we need to exercise. We all know this. We need to exercise. We need to eat healthy. We need to nurture the
Yeah.
body, which I don't always do. We've got to take the vitamins. We've got to sleep properly. So we've got to do all those things and make time do things that make our hearts sing, do things that make us happy, listen to music that lifts our soul, meditate.
That's what I was going to say. I put on music and dance.
and dance, yes, dance. The salsa, the uplifting, the gospel, anything, just that lifts the spirit and that lifts the soul as well. So we must take care of ourselves doing all of that as well. It's crucial. It's not self-care. And it was you who taught me when you said we talk about personal integrity. Was it you on the show? And I had to realize, yes, it was you. And I had to realize something. I can promise everyone, if I phone you, say I'm going to phone you at 5, I'll be there. If I need to be on this time, I'll be there. If I need to be some punctuality. But if I say, Charissa, you're starting gym tomorrow, you're right. Nonsense. Charissa, you're going to eat properly from tomorrow. Sure. There's no integrity to promise myself that. So you taught me that it's about personal integrity as well. And if your word is good, it needs to be good to yourself as well. So tell little Charissa, you need to listen to it. Yeah, so we need to take that time for ourselves as well. So, I'm going to promise myself to do some of these things as well, because we can all tell you what to do, but we've got to practice it ourselves.
An accountability partner. That's why you need an accountability partner.
Accountability.
Yeah, because sometimes we promise ourselves all these things, but we do not. It's easier for us to fulfill every other promise we've made to others, but then we forget to fulfill the promises we made to ourselves. But your accountability partner, because if you tell me, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go like Charissa. If you done that thing you're going to do, and you'd be like, what's that? I said, no, you can't give me an excuse, Charissa. You have to do it. You literally have to do it. So it's always good to have someone else that can come and kick your butt and say, hey, you are just as important. you need to do this thing. So get your butt up and go do it. So it will really
Exactly
help.
so. And that's why we want to say, exactly. And that's why we want to say to those people who don't want to go to a psychologist, have a coach, because it's exactly like this. You have someone who you're accountable to, who just checks in with you and just says, are you okay? What have you been doing? Did you manage to do that? So let's break the stigma, madam. Let's break it all over Africa. We're all struggling with something, but the most important thing is that we get back on up and we get it together and we don't be victims. That's the message. Okay, Madam has frozen, so I will see. Oh, there you are, you're back.
Yes, network froze me up again. Yes, it's so important for us to stop using cop-outs, as in always say that, oh, when I'm less busy and stuff like that. Time for self-care, self-repair, and also just the same way as you said that we have coaches for our finances, coaches for our careers, coaches for everything under the sun. You must also get someone, because if you don't have someone who is a specialist at that to be able to talk you through all the things you're going through mentally, you will not even know when you're derailing. So they're able to nip it in the bud and get you back on the right track. So we must make it a priority to also, so it's not more something that is a nice to have. I call it now that it is a must have, because we've seen how mental health is so vital. So I encourage everybody to have, just like you have a doctor that you can visit anytime you're sick, make sure you register with any psychologist or psychiatrist that you believe in and you like their ways, and make sure that they're there so that when you need their services, you can call upon them, visit them, and get yourself a mental check from time to time.
Yes, brilliantly said. So that you can live your best life and that it can be phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Yeah, well said. I hope we've motivated some people, really, that if you're alive, you've still got a story to tell. You still can make it amazing. Just
Absolutely.
Get the support.
Everybody's life matters. Everybody's life matters. And everybody's
life.
story has the power and potential to change other people's lives. And we're trying to break the stigma to say that it's very okay for you to say, oh, do you know Charissa Bloomberg? She's my personal psychiatrist or personal psychologist, and not be like, oh, she got a personal one? She ain't all right in the head. You'd be like, no, it's just the same thing as having your dentist, having your general practitioner. You must also have someone that is taking care of you mentally. So everybody, I urge you to go get a psychologist. Book a session with them. If you are going to be checking how your body is feeling year in, year out, and you forget to check your teeth, guess what? You're going to end up with rotten teeth and teeth that are going to be falling out or have so many holes in them because you didn't put a priority. So the same thing as your mind. So if you book or go look for a psychologist or a psychiatrist, it's good to have them on your book so you get your mental health check done. Even if it's once every 3 months and stuff like that, it's still better than not having it done at all.
Well said. And if you can't afford a psychologist, just go to someone in the church, in your area, in your community, really everywhere. Everywhere there's someone who can help you if you can't afford it. Just reach out and let's make it current again. Let's make it sexy. So when you reach the top and you do well, and you say, I couldn't have done it without my coach. I couldn't have done it without my shrink. I made it because I had help.
Exactly. Yes. And I want to say thank God for technology, right? So even if you can't find one in your local area, guess what? You can Skype in, Zoom in with your psychologist or psychiatrist anywhere in the world. So I live in Nigeria and I can talk to Charissa anytime I want about mental issues because there is no barrier for me. So I don't need to look for one in my country because I already have a good relationship with her. So I'm proud to tell people that I have my own personal psychiatrist and psychologist by Charissa Bloomberg. So I'm not ashamed to say it because I know that my mental wellness affects me and it's part of how I live a phenomenal life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I urge you, go get one too, because when you're about to go cray cray, your shrink is going to help you stay stable.
Yes, yes, and exactly, well said. And if you think us shrinks have it all together, we also need support. But what you taught
Mm-hmm.
me is the brand. Oh my gosh, you're also your brand. So never forget that. So when I go shopping in the old tracksuits and no makeup, and I'm like, Madame Merola, you should see me now because I'm not the brand.
You're
So
not
I have to,
representing the brand.
I'm not representing, and you are always immaculate. So you've taught me I'm a brand, and if you want to be out there, you have to dress like that. You have to feel it. You have to. You can't. Let me tell you, you can't do it. We're not saying it's all about looks and dress, but we are saying mental wellness is about your mind, your body, your soul, and how you present yourself as well. Because you're a brand, and if
Mm-hmm.
you want to come off looking cuckoo and losing it and being depressed and not having your act together, that's not part of your brand either. So we need to keep it together for ourselves and our families and our friends and our communities.
Exactly.
Find yourself
And
a coach
just just
anywhere
just,
in the
just as
world.
a final wrap up, I need to share something. Yesterday we had a session on the 10 days rare challenge that I started. And the coach that came on, Rex Oviri, said something that they say that a picture speaks 1,000 words. So he says that when people look at you as a picture, what exactly are you saying? So when you talked about the way we look and the way we are speaking to people. So when you look all disheveled and all unkept and stuff, you're speaking a language to people that to say that I ain't got it all together, things are going awry in my life and stuff like that. And
Yes.
it's not going to help you in any way because you're already sending the wrong message to people. So when we show up and dress up and look good, it's because even if everything is not all right inside us, it's like by looking at our own image and seeing someone who looks vibrant, seeing someone that looks comforted and stuff, we're sending signals to ourselves to say, this is who you are, this is who you are. And before you know it, you get back into that state of saying, yes, I'm phenomenal, I'm amazing, I'm great. And then the more you say it, the more you feel it. And then you start to realize that you're not that stressed out anymore. You're not feeling the mental stress. You're just okay. So that's why you say that you dress properly and stuff, because it can change the aura and also the mental state you're in.
Yeah, they said like fake it until you make it. So when we did all these shows, when they did a makeover, I mean, you look, sometimes it comes from the outside first. If you get dressed up, you show, and it's getting dressed up, show up. I mean, it's freezing here in Cape Town. It's raining. I went over my notes in bed with my cats and laptop. Like, do I have to get dressed to put the makeup on and put the hair extensions in? But once you do that, you do feel good. So it's the whole package.
Absolutely.
Mental wellness starts outside, the inside, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and support. Right?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charissa.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've had
Thank
such an
you.
amazing time with you.
I
And
love
I
that.
would like to ask you one question again before we leave. And this one is a personal one. And that is, if you could choose to be anything right now, anything in the world, there's no barrier. So you just get like, a pass to say, yes, you get it. What will you be right now? Is there anything about your life that you would change if you could?
I love that because it's a trick question. We used to ask the students I lectured, we used to say, if you could be anybody else right now except yourself,
Mhm.
who would you want to be? And 80% of them wanted to be somebody else and the actress and fame and this. And only 20% said, I just want to be me. So
Mhm.
it's a trick question. I want to say to you, I just want to be where I am right now. I'd like a few more doors to open around integrity, as you know, and I have a few more dreams I want to do before I leave this planet. But I just want to be me. I don't want to be anybody else. Just, just, I'm okay. I'm okay right now. Thank you. So that's my
And
honest
that's
question.
awesome.
Yeah.
But he also, it was a trick question, but that it also is testament to who you are and why you are the perfect fit for what you do. Because somebody else that is trying to teach other people to learn to be okay with themselves, yet that person is not okay with themselves, it's not the right person to go ask for help, right? So the fact that you accept yourself, you love yourself, and you like, you know what? I look forward to the highest, best version of myself. I look forward to myself doing this on a much more higher and escalated level. But I absolutely do not want to be anything else but me. That is, and I say that every single day. That even if I get a chance to pick, I will still pick me. I will still be me, 1000% all over again, because I absolutely thank God for creating me the way I am, and I wouldn't change a thing. All I'll just ask for is the next amplified level version of me. That's all. That's all.
I love that. I love that. That's perfectly. That's well said. Yes, the next amplified level. I say that. Yes, I salute that. I agree.
Andrew says, I wish I was 14 again. There's a whole bunch of I need to make that. There's a lot. Andrew, you're so funny that you need to make some new mistakes.
He's really hysterical. He's a good colleague of mine that we do some of these shows. He's hysterical. He's got a brilliant brain. Thank you, Andrew.
So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you for joining us today. It's all about the effect of COVID-19 on mental health. And of course, every other thing in life that can derail you from having the right mental state. I've been having a chat with Charissa Bloomberg from South Africa, a celebrity psychologist, and she's been talking to us about some of the tools that can aid us to be able to detect early on whether we're having issues mentally, and also how we can develop the coping mechanisms to be able to be our own little shrinks first, like, giving yourself the first aid before we go and then get the external help that we need. I hope and pray for each and every one of us to know that you are stronger than you think, but that there is no shame in asking for help. Let's break the stigma. Let's stop making people feel like something is wrong with them because they seek mental help. We all will have one or two issues that will be too much for us to cope with by ourselves, and we are going to need to extend that hand of help. Make sure that when you get to that stage, you do seek the help you need. Don't stay at home, don't stay at work and keep on managing. Get the help you need. Be well mentally, be well emotionally, be well spiritually, be well physically, and live the absolute best life you can right now. Because your life matters, your voice matters, your dreams matter, and everything that you've been created to do, you will be able to do it with excellence if you are in the right state of mind. I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's been an honor and privilege to come to your screens wherever you are across the world. My name is Madame Merola, and I am the bank creator that ignites the beautiful and bold, audacious, no excuses, God's masterpiece in you. This show has been designed to help you to be inspired, empowered, and transformed. We hope we've transformed something about your psyche when it comes to mental health issues, and that you realize that it's okay not to be okay sometimes. Say it and get the help you need and be in the right state of mind so that you can fulfill purpose and destiny in the best frame of mind. So, Charissa, any last words to everybody before we go?
I can't top that, man. I'm sitting here thinking what I'm going to say. Each time you take my words, no, that was amazing. Anything I'm going to say is can't top that. Just thank you for the opportunity. Bless you, and bless you. And thank you for your good work. You're amazing. Thank you. And everybody, reach for the stars. You can do it. Reach. Live your best life. God bless you.
Amen. So you heard it from her. Reach for the stars. You are capable of being phenomenal. Don't let anyone tell you a lie and say that you are ordinary, you're mediocre, you're not good enough. That is a big fat lie. Tell yourself, look at yourself in the mirror today and say, I am phenomenal. I am created in God's image I'm a masterpiece, and I am going to dazzle in my originality and shine brightly like the star I am. So with that, we say, bye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday and the final day of May. And then tomorrow we'll start the month of June. Woohoo! All right. Take care, people. God
Bye.
bless you. And
Lovely.
bye.
Bye.